Hello there, YouTube. Good evening. It's October 31st, Halloween. So I thought I'd do a video that adds to a video series by Richie from Boston. He has a great series on what the chemtrails are all about. And I believe he is onto something, and he's definitely right on this because they're part of a long-term agenda, it would appear. I mean, I at first noticed them chemtrailing like crazy in Bend, Oregon, anywhere from 2.5 to 3 years ago or so, roughly, give or take. I was outside, working outside at a car wash and or gas station, and I saw them chemtrailing like crazy, and I knew they weren't any good. I knew that there was some major issues with that they have to have something that they're doing here that is nefarious, or I had a hunch that they weren't good. I mean, then I looked into it, and I first researched Morgellons, that they might be dropping Morgellons, they might be dropping smart dust, but what they probably appear to be doing is part of a really slow poisoning of the human population. It takes a while to do, and that's the whole point. They don't quite have avatars yet for the elite to live in. The elite basically are working with the fallen angels, it would appear, to poison the environment. So that's that. I mean, a lot of technology, of course, in the Bible even states that technology comes from the fallen angels, or at least came from them initially. And the thing is, what if we're still receiving it? It says in the movie Men in Black, they put the truth in plain sight. That we receive our technology from aliens, and aliens is a code word for fallen angels. And then you also have in Men in Black the whole programming mess where they take the programming victims of Hollywood, who they give the truth to sometimes, and the pop music stars who they give the truth to sometimes, and they occasionally program them when they get out of line, so they dumb them down and torture them, basically. Some of them are torture victims throughout life, and that torture starts usually at age 3 for them. So anyway, long story short, let's just get to it. What they appear to be doing is dropping what would appear to be, this can be verified through scientists. I haven't verified this yet, but I'm sure scientists are on the verge of verifying this, is that they're slowly dropping barium, strontium from the chemtrails, and then they're fluoridating the water, and then tritium's in the water in some places as well. Tritium's radioactive. They're also dropping aluminum and aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide is supposedly used in some of the chemtrails. They also use dry ice in chemtrails. Dry ice is not poisonous, of course, so that's not really that big of a deal. It's just the aluminum oxide and the aluminum that is. The aluminum would be used to basically cause early onset of Alzheimer's. They basically want you to have a memory upgrade and force you in to the Luciferian Third Temple in the future. They want you to accept transhumanism. So this is a way of accepting it. And they have to be taking directives from fallen angels because why else would they be so nefarious? I mean, it doesn't really make sense from a human perspective to really make it a long-term agenda to poison the environment. It's a very slow process because they know that if they do this too quickly, the people will revolt. So that's part of it. It's a lot like boiling a frog alive. If you stick a frog in a boiling water, a live frog, let's say, the frog will instantaneously hop out because the frog will know that's too hot. So it will, that won't go through too well. But what you do is, if you really want to cook a frog alive, all you do is you stick it in a pot of water, I should say, that's lukewarm. You slowly turn up the heat. And that's kind of what they're doing. They're slowly turning up the heat in terms of building the totalitarian state around us, and they're slowly building up the heat in terms of the environmental pollutants that are invading our ecosystem, So it's pretty sad, and it's going to continue until people stop it. So let's just get to it. This song was put out in 2002. It's called Between Rupture and Rapture. It's by the band Thursday. They're from New Jersey. So anyway, let's just get right to it. I'll just show you a couple things in this song, and this will show you what I mean. The thing is similar to the Soviet Union. They make they don't make 10-year plans like the Soviet Union did. They make they've been doing plans since the dawn of existence. They just craft their machinations. So this is part of a long-term plan. I mean, this song came out in 2002, and they've only recently ramped up the chemtrailing in the past couple years, and now they're still doing it. It's just they were doing it like crazy a couple years ago. Now they've kind of ramped it down a little bit. I think they're doing contrails in my area mostly because I think people have noticed it, and I also me and others blew the lid on what they were doing. So I'm sure people are quite not pleased. They're quite livid about this, of course, and I mean, everyone has a right to be livid because no one wants to live in a place that's poisoned. So anyway, I want to show you something in this song real quickly. So this is one of the verses. So, without a second opinion, the chemicals saturate to counteract the code. Through the double helix we are twisting, too scared to let this go. Someone call the head nurse, she's coming to the Capitol to wrap us up and throw us in the dirt with a dream that's turning off. So what they're saying here is that without a second opinion means that there's no argument put up in place because the people who are in the Illuminati, or even if they're lower ranking, they're not allowed to argue. They have to obey. So without a second opinion, they got to obey. Okay. And then here we have the chemicals saturate. Okay. So the chemicals that we're talking about here is barium, strontium, aluminum, fluoride in the water kind of thing. So the chemicals saturate to counteract the code. We're also talking about GMOs here too. Chemicals saturate. We're talking about Roundup. Okay. We're talking about the stuff that's used in GMO farming, because this stuff, anything you consume that's kind of poisonous will affect your DNA. Things also like such as LSD will also affect your DNA, but chemicals and pollutants such as this will affect your code. Basically, you will end up with, especially if you were to consume something much worse than Roundup, such as DDT, like Agent Orange, it would counteract your code, so to say. It would actually, you will have kids born with like multiple multiple fingers and three eyes even, or who knows what. I mean, cancers, sores on them, that kind of thing. So this is what it's talking about. The chemicals saturate to counteract the code. And then here it says, through the double helix we are twisting. And then it's mentioning right down below that this is the code they're going to counteract. They're counteracting the double helix that God gave us. We have a 4-digit code that God gave us that is our programming language that's a God-given DNA code. And they're going to counteract this through chemical poisons in the environment. Okay, it's a slow process. It's not exactly quick. And that's saying down here it's too scared to let this go. They're saying that too scared to let go of the human form, basically, is what's saying down here. And someone called the head nurse. She's coming to the Capitol. And the Capitol are talking about might even be some Hunger Games type thing almost. Like, I mean, this was before the Hunger Games came out, of course. But they're talking about, like, probably the Agenda 21. This is probably mentioning Agenda 21 or America 2050, which is a Rockefeller plan, which places the capital somewhere near Denver and consolidates everyone in the city. So maybe it's talking about that capital there. And then they're talking about here to wrap us up and throw us in the dirt with the dream that's turning off. They're talking about giving up the human form here, basically. And maybe the dream that's turning off is the fact that there's some of them that I'm sure they're rebelling against this with the dream that they had that's turning off, or maybe their dreams are turning off because they're giving up the human form. Because machines supposedly can dream. Google has a machine that can dream, but we're talking about transhumanist avatar. Who knows what exactly? They probably would dream too if they had their brain still in place. So I got to think of what they're going with here with the dream that's turning off. They're probably going with the fact that there's dissension within the ranks of the people who are in the Illuminati, which there obviously is, because most people are not going to be for this agenda. Okay, so with that said, that's what that part of the song is. So this is basically showing you in plain sight that they're saturating us with chemicals to counteract the DNA code, okay? So, and this song has a lot of different stuff in it, and it states up here, we're just going to go through a couple more lines before I run out of time, because I usually have 15 minutes per video here. So, the phosphor is starting a fire. Phosphor is regarded as a light. It's sometimes called light. It's a light. You can light on fire. You can have white phosphorus as an explosive kind of thing. Phosphorus as light. It's sometimes called light, okay? And it's also used in bioluminescence, so phosphor. So phosphor is another word actually for Lucifer, because Lucifer is the light bearer. So phosphor, you can look this up in witchcraft and wizardry, is, and if you don't take my word for it, you can look it up, you have to look a little deep though, it's a light, so it's referring to Luciferian. It's a Luciferian thing, okay? It's referring to light, okay? I don't quite know where they're going with this. I probably have to take a look at what they're talking about here exactly. Shooting up in the iodine, I have to take a look at what these chemicals would actually do and combine. I don't know what phosphorus would do with iodine and the ultraviolet. I'd actually have to really take a look at this, but this actually would, maybe this actually is almost like they're talking about a big bang here. You got some light on the situation, you got some phosphorus, which would explode things, and then you got some iodine. Sodium iodine is necessary for life because we need salt to live, but mostly we need water to live. We need an aqueous solution to live in. Our bodies need and crave fresh water. So I don't know where they're going with the iodine here. I don't know where they're going with this. I'd have to double check this, and maybe I'll get back to you on another video of what this actually means with the chemical composition they're putting out here. So it looks like some form of alchemy up here. And in this line, it says, rupture the wall around my heart. I feel so lost. I've been shaking. You can't save me. Forget what the doctor said. What they're saying here is, I feel so lost. This is the people who are kind of maybe lower ranking in the Illuminati, like me. I'm a targeted person. I'm also kind of like, I'm left alone for another reason too, probably mostly because I have a criminal status. So anyway, but part of this is reflecting on the people who are in the Illuminati who they confuse, and this also has to do with the confusion that exists down here. You have so many ways of paradigms for viewing reality. You feel lost kind of. So and this also has to do with people who might be programming victims. I've been shaking, you can't save me, and the shaking is like, from being shooken up, but from programming. This person's also somehow tricked into thinking that they can't be saved by God, so you can't save me. Forget what the doctor said. This is also an emo song too, so maybe they're trying to always go with double meanings for this. So it's like, it's like they're trying to make it like this person's dying here, like forget what the doctor said, like they're dying or something like that. And now it's saying now it's too late to turn this off. Basically, the project of building the Luciferian Third Temple or transhumanist avatars or living forever a different way, we'll just put it in many different ways here. It's too late to turn this project off because, at least in their opinion, but the thing is it has to be turned off if you want to favor humanity. So this is why they're saying that here. It's they're thinking it's too late to turn this project off. This project has been put in place since the dawn of humanity. Or since the dawn of existence, let's say, in the book of Genesis, is in existence there. Adam and Eve never ate from the tree of life; they ate from the tree of good and evil. So we never got to eat that knowledge, and God doesn't want us to eat that knowledge because we have a soul. We go to heaven, rather than God's plan is for us to go to heaven rather than live here forever. Because the thing is that these avatars and this whole agenda is going to cause for enslavement of humanity. And the thing is, if you look at it like this, you get if humanity's moderately poisoned, they're going to be enslaved. I mean, the avatars, the transhumanists will live above us. They'll be basically like gods, and that's part of their goal. They're going to be as gods. They want to be. And so that's basically it. And the other thing is that you have a lot of movies like Interstellar, maybe not so much After Earth, but Interstellar, and there's a couple movies basically where the Earth is desolate and void, okay? And even in Interstellar especially, you have like dust invading the environment. And that dust is a reference, it's alluding to the dust that they're dropping from the chemtrails. So, and notice how everything in that movie is poisoned. It suggests that it's poisoned almost, not that you know that it's poisoned. They said that there was a war, but in actuality, the war was on the human population. They're dropping chemtrails basically, and they poison the environment. And in that movie, they all have to eat this genetically modified corn to survive because there's nothing else to eat because it's the only thing that they can build it to survive. The poisons, basically. That's kind of the gist of that movie. We're getting a little bit off topic here. That's kind of what they're doing. And there's dust in that movie. That dust in that movie invades everything. Notice that. And that's just a reference for the chemtrail dust, basically. Not smart, anyway. So they can't turn this off. And then alone is all we are, they're saying here. Even when we feel this close, it's just a lie we believe. This is like, this is for like targeted people probably, and or part of a rite of initiation into the Illuminati is alone time. So this is part of it. Alone is all we are. And this is talking about the connections that he has, this person or someone that they know might have to the Illuminati, that they have this sort of fake connection that give them the sort of delusion that they are close to one of them. It's just a lie we believe. And then it's saying we can't find a way out of this moment. We're lost in a dark hallway towards the end here. Part of the song, I think, was... I'm just trying to find this one part. I thought there was a part that said, like, a chance encounter. Oh, and this is the other thing. We got to go back to this chorus back here, okay? We're going to skip back through the song real quickly. Where it says, we're coming to the capital, the distance between us will rupture. Coming to the capital, in our hearts the disease won't touch us, coming to the capital. Okay, so what they're saying here, in our hearts the disease won't touch us. The disease won't touch people who take the mark of the beast because you'll be able to live forever in a transhumanist avatar. So that's what that means. So if this is just sinking it home more and more that this is what this song's about. Okay, so that's why the disease won't touch them. So you get it basically. So that's kind of it for this song. I guess we'll cut it off right there. It's been good talking to you guys. I hope you stay safe on this holiday, Samhain, as it's known as, in satanic through a satanic perspective here. I hope you all stay safe, and God bless, and have a great evening.